So I just wanted a minute to talk about something very important, which is Tiger King. I mean, this has to be talked about. This has to be. We can't just pretend. Um, I can't pretend anymore. I have to talk about it. So one day, I went on Facebook. This is how it all began. I went on Facebook, and that's all there was. There was coronavirus or Tiger King, and I just had to know what this is all about. So, as a parasite, I have acquired Netflix from my friend, and I successfully logged in, and nothing was ever the same again. So, I started watching this thing about a gay, polyamorous, eccentric, mullet sporting zookeeper, if I may do it justice. And I was hooked. 7 episodes of pure joy. Now, but seriously, so we all know that there are strange things happening on TV, and that was one of them. And before I used to think that my life is interesting, and now I just have, these are like a whole new standards of weirdness and adventure. But what there's so many questions. There's just so many questions. Like 5 minutes in, you're already like, hang on, stop. I have questions. What is going on? And it's very hard to say if you haven't watched it. Just watch it. Just watch it, please. So, what I really like about it, and what I like sometimes about TV and strange things on the internet, what it shows is, because there's always like a deep layer, and there are a few layers there. So it's not just a stupid TV show. First of all, it's like over dramatic, like a lot of American reality TVs with reality shows with this kind of dramatic cuts where, like inappropriately dramatic, like the situation isn't as dramatic, but they keep rolling, and the person just stares stares at the camera, or just like this moment of, you wonder what the character is thinking. And of course, and characters are quite eccentric there. So I never talked about anything. I never talked about anything. Yeah, just wrap it up. I never talked about anything. Great, Alex. So of course there are different eccentric characters, and there is this weird moment when you think about some people they're just being, like on drugs, or just being a bit roughed around by life, and they had to deal with police, and they were like in jail and coming out, and like, no lives kind of, and then they just say something really accurate and deep, and I'm thinking that's like the whole thing actually shakes up my judgment of people. It's just like such big dissonance. And of course, what is going on, it escalates quite quickly from, keeping big cats into some proper gory crime and stuff. So, you know what I'm talking about. But what I really like, one thing that I like about it, I'm not gonna talk for too long, because this is really not my thing to try to, review shows or anything like that. But YouTubers react. What I like about it is that it shows you a completely brand new world that you didn't know existed. And that's something that fascinates me, how many worlds like that we have, that just seem so surreal, and the context, the language, how the language shapes interactions there, and what matters for these people, and how their values and their aspirations and dreams. It's all this, and you think you grow up in some kind of environment. You hang out with people that are kind of similar to you, and you think you know how the world works, and that's a completely not how the world works, because there are different worlds and different subcultures and different contexts. Even just discovering, let's say, kind of music that you hear for the first time and you didn't even know that it's possible to make such music, but then you realize there are actually hundreds of thousands of people who listen to that and are their life is about it. That's why it's also interesting to see. Sometimes it's kind of like some kind of freak show or whatever, online on TV, when they show, extreme whatever, and you think like, haha, these people are so strange. How, what a relief. I'm not as, I thought I was weird, but, so anyway, but that's it goes deeper than that. There is so many things, and it comes when you realize, for example, there is a music that wasn't on your radar before, and suddenly it just like expands your world. And same with pretty much everything, with travels, where you go somewhere and you just think like that's, but then you spend some time and you think like, okay, like you kind of understand the context. You start to immersing yourself in a different world. And of course, there's this whole thing of subjectivity where we can say like, we all live in different worlds, but at the same time, we can communicate these worlds on a level where we can build something together, where we can collaborate. And there are definitely people, I think, that are more aware of this and that can get out of their world in order to meet someone in the middle, for example. And there are others who are much more difficult to drag out of their own perceptions, and even for them to kind of acknowledge that there is a different perspective. So that's all very interesting. It can be. That's why I think there are different layers of them. And another thing, what also was really well done, it's very difficult to judge any of these people when you're watching, no spoilers, but yeah, it's very difficult, and that's, I think they realize that very well, that it's very difficult to make judgments, and it's not just like you laugh at people and you think like, oh my god, they're stupid, and haha, and game over. It's actually they're alive, and that's what makes this show really interesting, I think. So highly recommend. Go watch Tiger King. Nothing's ever gonna be the same again. There we go.